Hello everyone and welcome back to the Oceanic Challenger Series 2019. This is game number 3. I'm E-Jim. This is Vandy. We've been here all day. Two games so far. All night?
Yeah.
What's the time?
I don't know. Time to get a watch.
It is 6:30. Okay.
Oh, dang.
Does that count as night? Maybe in winter.
Yeah, because it goes dark at like 5:30.
5:30?
Something like that.
Is it that
Do you know
early?
what I found out? Super weird. Sorry to... Yeah.
No, hit me.
Yeah.
What is it?
In Melbourne, like, I remember I called my sister and she's like, oh, it's like nighttime here. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's still like sunset in Melbourne. It sets a lot faster here in Sydney. We get a little bit more daylight in Melbourne.
Is that? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Does that? I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, because
right?
I guess like the way it's like traveled.
Yeah, of
but
course.
it
I mean,
was
that's
super
like
weird.
functionally
But
how
it just
the
like
Earth works.
broke my mind because she's
Yeah.
like, it's pitch dark. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like sunset.
You don't think about that at all.
No
'Cause
way.
I feel like, especially for me as well, like the last 2 years, I've just been moving between like Sydney, Canberra, Melbourne, Sydney, Melbourne.
Yeah, all your homes.
So it's like, to me, the distance between the cities like doesn't exist, right? Like you're just kind of like moving around, whereas like, I don't know, if you just lived in X for 70 million years.
You just
then
get accustomed to it.
yeah. Certainly could be the case. The next game of the day is going to be UQU Union versus Legacy Genesis, and will be an interesting one headed into it. You kind of look at this and you're like, yes, Legacy heavily favoured, but they've got a little bit of a weird roster substitution here. I believe Paprise is playing.
Yeah, in the top lane.
Yeah, instead of Chungi.
If we are to believe this, yes. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. I feel like Chungi is just so... We're talking about like standard rosters, right? Chungi's been a big part of that, and I feel like he is their top laner.
Well,
He's very good at it.
I think he is their top laner.
Oh,
but you know what I mean?
Okay, sorry. That
Paprise-
came out very... As in, like, he is just consistently performing well as their top laner.
Yeah, certainly. And I think a lot of... Because like I have some thoughts on this, right? Like the competitive week starts tomorrow.
Yep.
Like tomorrow is the first day of the OPL, and Paprise obviously on the Legacy OPL team. I expect him to be playing tomorrow, but it starts tomorrow.
Yep.
So he can play happily in the OCS this week and doesn't lock him out. But as soon as he plays OPL tomorrow, Paprise can't be on the roster for next week unless he chooses to play OCS over OPL or whatever Legacy wants to do. I don't know how that works.
Or give him boot camp practice.
Yeah, that's all like internal stuff that they can decide, yada yada. But like it's super interesting because I think this is like Paprise may on paper just like be a better player than Chungi. Like I think he's on the OPL roster for a reason, but
he hasn't worked with these teammates.
Yeah, Chungi isn't easy shoes to fill because the way Legacy win games, Legacy Genesis that is Mugi Chungi, flex Yasuo, flex Rise, flex whatever the hell they want.
Chungi's Vlad.
Flip it, like flip
him for
top
that.
mid, they all over the place. Like can Paprise, despite maybe yes being a better player, like can he fill that role? Because I think Legacy as a team, like their top lane role for them specifically is kind of a weird one.
Yeah, very well said. I have to agree with that. I mean, let's see how he goes. Perhaps they've been doing scrims where they'd interchange both of their OPL and OCS rosters. We don't know.
He could just be sick.
Yeah.
Like, who knows?
Oh, jeez, just like, my internet sucks today. Potato internet. Yeah, but we're going to wait and see. We get straight into the picks and bans again.
Yeah. On the other side, it is going to be Kimchi coming in for Sand for UQ Union. We talked about Legacy, but this is the other team on the blue side. They also lose 3 bans due to a late roster submission, as you can see in the bottom middle. Feels bad.
It does feel bad, but we saw that opened up for that last game. The Aatrox was available to be picked.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Guapi couldn't get a win with it, but we saw in lane how threatening it was.
Which is surprising. Like, that was a 1-5 finish to an Aatrox game, and he's a big champion in the meta right now. Of course, this is going to be the blue side without bans, so kind of functionally a little bit different than the red side. They don't really get to choose what first pick is up and available for them here. It is kind of Legacy making that choice with the bans. They get to ban away 3 things that they don't want to have access to. Do they target ban, right? Is it a Jarvan? Is it an Aurelia ban or something like that? Or do they start hitting the OPs, the Rise, the Aatrox, the Sylas, yada yada?
Well, I mean, if it's starting with the... I was going to say Candyman in this stage 1. If you're already starting with the Jarvan, it feels like it's very, very jungle focused already. We know Candyman loves playing both of those.
Yep.
Feels like a no-brainer for them.
And do they go triple? What else has he played? Has he played Karthus?
Candyman. Let's have a look. Yes, you have a great memory. I had to go double check that one. Is it because it's one of those weird ones where you just
have
like...
an awful memory. I just remember that one thing.
Oh, yeah. I was like, dang, son.
Genuinely, like what happened game 1? I don't know.
You mean from tonight?
Yeah. It was a long one.
It was a long one, yeah.
I have the worst memory of like retrospectively.
Yeah, but then you just pulled out your like Candyman with the card, and I was like, let me just flip to my notes.
You gotta take notes.
I like it.
That's notes.
I've got the notes, but I was flipping, bro.
Oh, there's a Skarner.
Okay.
Okay.
So, but very jungle focused with these bans.
It's also not just jungle focused. Like Karthus would be a mix-up, right? This is Jarvan engage, Sejuani engage, Skarner engage. All of them can be frontline, and Maybe Legacy coming into this one, looking at Candyman and being like, this is the role he fills. They have no bans. Let's remove that role from the board. Take it off.
I feel like
Put him on something else.
Candyman would be the type to just like lock and say then something like a Hecarim where you can still fill that role, still very on meta.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he plays it. We haven't seen it being whipped out by him yet.
I expect he can, but this does mean Ryze, Aatrox, Sylas, Morgana, all of these power picks are available. Yuumi.
No, it's all about Yuumi tonight. No Morgana.
Yeah, this is 100% present so far. From last week, she was available, probably about 50, I reckon.
And no one wanted to take it just yet.
Yeah.
Everyone's had their time. Oh, is this a Sona Tarek?
That would
Get
be
one. Do we get both?
an interesting choice. Yes, okay. This isn't a matchup I've seen.
Yeah, I was about to say, I haven't seen the Sona Tarek into a Yuumi Ezreal, Yuumi Kai'Sa, Yuumi Sivir yet.
I feel like it makes a lot of sense. Yuumi will not punish you very well in the early game.
Sustain for days.
Yuumi scales incredibly well. That's the point of Sona Tarek. Like, you get to the late game and you're just obnoxiously full health all the time. You actually deal relevant damage. So, honestly, I like this as an answer so far on paper. Have to see how it plays out paired with the Sivir.
UQ, I mean, they've thought long and hard about it, I suppose. They weren't afraid to... Well, if they had the choice, I mean, they couldn't anyway with the Aatrox.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
Kind of
it
limited.
feels bad, right?
Losing
Forgot
all
about
bans.
the 3 bans. I was like, oh, right.
I kind of like, this is me from an outsider that's not involved in competitive League of Legends, because I'm sure if like you talk to a pro player or a coach of a team, they'll say the opposite, but I kind of like when there's no bans. Because you just
mean,
see...
like, it's free for all?
Yeah, it's just nuts. Like,
I
it's just,
like it from, I like it from a
just like
casting
you see
standpoint.
all of the best champions all doing their thing.
Yeah.
I mean, all we lost was 3, and suddenly we have a game with Sylas and Aatrox and opposite teams. I feel like that's fairly non-standard so far, but...
Even things like the Sona Tarek coming on through, because
Yeah.
if you ban away one, disencourages the other coming through.
Yeah.
Kindred, another, again, focusing on junglers.
Yeah, literally 4 jungle bans, and then the Aurelia special for Riot is taken off the table there, so...
That makes sense. He loves Aurelia.
Yeah, he's played a lot of it, and Legacy certainly coming into this one with a plan, executing on that so far. I'm interested to see if this is now like a mid lane lock-in. Mugi picks up something, Ryze is still available, he takes something very standard, and they leave their jungle to last pick. You like ban away Candyman's everything, and then give Lisa a counter pick, something like that. Has had very good games on both Lee Sin and Rek's side. No. Okay.
Elise. Okay, so jungler being picked up, denying Candyman the Elise. I really just see him perhaps going that Hecarim.
I feel like Hecarim would be a fairly rough matchup. Yes, like in terms of like the meta tier list, you look at junglers, but into an Elise, certainly could be a hard one. Maybe Zac? That feels like rough.
I mean, he's got no, like, it's just so jungle focused. Even the Rek's side got taken away, and the Lee Sin.
That, I feel like this is a choice, like, Hecarim, very good champion.
He's just picking him for tier, I feel.
Yeah, in this game,
It's
I
not
feel
for, like, the matchup or for tier.
Could be a rough one to navigate. Does have some lanes that can help him out. Has CC in every single lane, so certainly has gank threat, but you think given Hecarim versus Elise, Lisa's going to be the one looking to gank more often than not. Mugi has his choice into the Ryze right now. There it is.
The Syndra.
Yep, very standard matchup. Kind of old school. Syndra favored fairly early. Ryze scales into Oblivion, as does the Sona Tarek, as does the Yuumi. So both of these team comps doing relatively similar stuff. I have to give the early game probably to Legacy, given they have the Syndra release. Scary combo. The Aatrox just as well.
So much AP on the side of UQU
Yeah.
as well. Very AP heavy.
Yeah. Not the most relevant, given that there's no tanks on the other side. Normally you look at like full AD, full AP, and you're against an Alistar, and you're like, all right, get to 30 minutes and we lose. But it is an Elise and a Yuumi, so burst potential will all be there. And we didn't mention it, but the Sylas is actually going to be mid lane versus the Syndra. And the Ryze top.
Oh, okay, yeah, so the switcheroo. I thought Ryze maybe mid, but no, yeah, Sylas.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense. Probably going to be an Aftershock Ryze to deal with the Aatrox as best as possible, and Sylas would have a better time versus the Syndra. I think especially into the Elise matchup as well, so... I feel like the early game is going to be a very big port of call here for Legacy. They have a lot of options open, and if Union are going to kind of run away with this game, I feel like it's going to be much later, and especially, like, they have to get through the early stage first.
I'm very scared of Pap Ryze on that Aatrox. He has the experience. We know that he plays in the OPL under Legacy, but also... What you were talking about, like, can he carry his team if he hasn't been working with them? On a champ like Aatrox, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
You can just get fed. You can just carry your team along.
Yeah, it's like genuine. Like you get 2 kills on Aatrox, and it's like, all right.
It's just like with Aurelia, that Aurelia snowball effect.
Just group, I guess, and yeah, certainly pick up a few wins that way.
Who's got the potato computer?
Yeah, this isn't in studio.
Yeah,
You have to wait for all the plebs.
you know
all the
when?
plebs.
Do you know when they disabled the individual load screen? I feel like it's because people were just targeting that one poor person who took forever. Like, oi,
I mean,
your
that was
computer.
I mean, that's why they removed the ping. That was a genuine
You
strategy.
can see people's ping?
Yes, old school. I think like season 3.
Dang, I can't even remember
If you were
that.
a jungler, you like look at the loading screen and you're like, oh, this guy has 300 ping.
No, I'll focus
Like
in.
I just gank it.
Oh,
you can't
snap.
do anything.
I can't even remember. Like, I definitely was playing around it, but I can't even remember that.
Genuinely, that was a
My
strategy.
ping is amazing, by the way. It's always like 10 or something, even though it's in Melbourne.
In Melbourne.
Yeah. It's
What?
amazing. Everyone's like, do you just sit on the server? I'm like,
Oh,
I guess so.
I'm so pissed.
It's amazing. It's great.
Here we go. Now they're gonna face check.
Oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, Death Bush.
No real CC level 1. At least could level Cocoon. But
Are they going to go commit for it? A lot of the time they
Ah.
just stack, right?
Yep, just kind of waiting for the invade rather than invading themselves.
Aw. I
So-
love level 1 invade.
Nothing gonna happen. That was a Sivir recall. Interesting.
Chillin'
Goes
and
into the bot
resetting.
well.
Yep, walk back into their lane. So no shenanigans. Warding has been put out.
Mhm.
So there will be vision now. I thought they were going to go for it.
No real like contest, right? I think Legacy was obviously like shepherding the invade, trying to defend against one rather than looking for themselves. But especially given like a Sona with Klepto, I'm surprised Farmer didn't walk up in the lane, in the river rather, and like poke his head around, didn't see anyone. Because normally when a team stacks, the opposing team gets vision on the other side of the map. But there's no wards of the blue buff of Lisa. There's no wards of the ramp around mid lane. So UQU, yes, held on to kind of all of their 5 points, but didn't look to pressure it any further given that they had the opportunity. So despite the stack, it does just equalize into a very standard level 1 across the board.
You put up a nice little point. Farmer with Klepto. He gets to farm all game.
Yeah.
I like it. Top lane, this matchup, it will be volatile on the side Nightfall, depending on how he plays this one.
Goes
He's happy
up.
to trade.
Yeah, obviously range versus melee advantage, level 1, super potent. So Paprise is just sitting in the bush, has 0 CS, just wanting this wave to push in. You can see Lisa starting on the bot side as well, means that Nightfaller kind of has this clock where he wants to push that wave in and get it to crash into the turret and reset before there is an Elise in his lane, ruining his life. Because if you do mistime that one, then you kind of deny yourself access to the wave.
Just Elise things.
Yep.
It's really weird. I feel like Elise kind of fell off a little bit. She's still picked here and there,
Yeah.
but to what she used to be, the heydays.
I feel like it's also somewhat of an OCS special.
The Elise?
Right? Like, yeah, like a lot of people, like she's okay right now. I don't think she's the best jungler, but in terms of competitive play, Elise doesn't see the most just in general by nature of what type of champion she is. But
Yeah.
we have a lot of Elise players in the OCS, and
Well, the thing is, when
lot
I
of people
see
willing to pick it up.
one, it's generally because people feel very confident playing her and they know what matchups to play her into. So
Yeah,
as
it's
you said,
also-
into the Hecarim, she gets that huge advantage.
yeah, it's also very nice when you're Legacy and it's like, oh, we get 5 bans and they get 2. Okay, let's secure ourselves an Elise
Let's
matchup.
ban all
Yeah.
the junglers.
Let's remove everything we don't want to play against and yeah, pick a spicy one. Bit of a contest in the river of the Scuttle Crab.
And already the junglers butting heads a little bit, just wanting to get vision on each other.
So a little bit unfortunate there for Candyman, means that he may just lose a double Scuttle Crab here. Lisa gets access to the top side. Had the help of his mid lane rotating over, despite the Rise being there. They can't really win the skirmish on the top side, so has to concede. Oh,
The bot lane, that's
is-
finally the poke that we get to see, the Yuumi Sivir special.
yeah. Normally you see Sona Taric lanes, and they rely on their buttons to keep them alive. This is a lot of pots being ticked, right? Taric's already burnt his, Sona already burnt both of hers. This is actually a lot of damage that is being hit over.
Gank in the
Nightfaller.
top lane, forcing out a very early flash from Nightfaller. He is
Okay.
trying to root. Paprise is happy to go for the dive, but Candyman is
get
there.
it.
Lisa secures the first blood, trying to peel for Paprise, going to try and get
He
Candyman
lives.
low,
Oh.
and he gets the double kill.
Yeah, and Legacy Paprise comes into the roster and an immediate double kill on the top side of the map. Lisa picks up both kills, and despite the Aatrox falling one auto attack away, a little bit of the heal back, and for UQU, that is a disaster on the top side.
Candyman tried to be the knight in shining armor. It didn't quite work out. Just a couple of milliseconds low. Teleport in the bot lane, bringing Farmer back.
Yeah, got himself the Frost Fang, so we'll be able to stack that one up doubly as quick as he would before, but buys himself a refillable pot while he's at it. Kimchi underneath the turret, not having the best time alone as Tarek, but...
Candyman wanting to go onto Lisa, gets the knock up. Lisa jumps straight into Nightfaller's arms, and Riot comes across, gets the shutdown bonus, immediately goes onto Paprise. Nightfaller got a little bit low.
Yeah, a little bit greedy there from the jungler of Legacy. Sticks around way too long, hadn't bought yet after his double kill, so that was a 450 gold kill going over to the Sylas. Moogie's definitely not going to be happy about that one, but UQU able to fight back, and are they actually just straight up switching the lanes right now? Nightfaller, is he going to walk top or mid?
He is.
He's buying. He's sitting in the fountain right now.
He is considering it.
He's going top.
Going back top. So just covering in the mid.
Yep.
And yeah, jungler covering mid. Okay.
Riot TP'd, so got back on the map and is just going to walk back down. Hecarim ate some of the wave.
Lisa has eyes in the bottom river, knowing
Yeah.
that Candyman was locked up in the mid lane, covering.
Everything has been happening on the top side of the map, and in this sort of matchup where you're stuck underneath the turret, as Farmer and Kimchi, it's the worst possible scenario. Because I was mentioning it earlier, right? When your mid lane has priority as a bottom lane that can push and throw spells, you cannot get punished. Drakon and K-pop have just wasted their entire mana bars flinging garbage underneath the turret of the Union bottom lane, and that's almost 2 plates gone. 1.5 is the game right now, but you can see CS lead 53 when you add both of them, and 28 on the opposing side. Yes, they have the extra supplementary gold income from Klepto and the Spell Thieves, but doesn't account for that much of a discrepancy.
So the first 2 games we really saw Yuumi not really able to be the lane bully that we know she can be. But finally now, in this matchup, we start to see why people hate versing that Yuumi. And it's really weird, it's double sustain as well.
Well, I feel like that's the thing, right? Like, we have seen these matchups where it's a Nautilus into a Yuumi, right? And Yuumi very squishy, early laning, can't really do too much. It does scale up very well, whereas this is a Sona Tarek. Looking at Yuumi, you're like, yeah, okay, we can scale with you. We don't want to pressure you, and as such is just kind of booming them.
Lisa
walking
again
down.
In the top lane, has the vision.
Was spotted out further down the river by the pink water on your screen now. So Candyman is here to react if anything's going to happen. I wonder if Lisa is going to stick around topside, potentially wanting to go through the lane, but it's going to go back to the golems. Slink back to his jungle.
Might loop back, depending on what's going on. Paprise actually roaming on down, getting some vision.
And the worst thing for Nightfaller is that he goes back and buys a tier. Like, his life isn't getting any easier, right? Those 2 kills go over. He's lost his flash, so Lisa's just happy to pitch a tent up here, and he can't, like, it's not like he goes back and buys a Glacial. He goes back and buys Merc Treads to try and deal with what he knows inevitably is coming. This is just a straight-up tier rush, and certainly not a pretty sight.
Around his vision.
Does he do a blind? Does he just blind cocoon the ball?
Oh, it's so close.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. Lisa's recall goes on through Nightfall. It was just moments away.
Yeah.
Moments.
Plays it safe. Doesn't face checks, so...
We have Godview, right?
Yeah, Godview makes that very tense, and Nightfall is just blissfully
He's just
unaware.
like, what?
He's like, oh, what? Like, Aatrox is just pushing me in. I'm just waiting for the wave. It's fine.
Candyman covering in the spot lane as he lets him reset. So he's been on a lot of just cover duty. So all of these lanes just pushing.
3 plates with 1 reset here coming out of Legacy's bottom lane. Of course, TP gets both the Sivir and the Yuumi back to lane, so it's not the disconnect you see on the other side, whereas Kimchi had to stay. That bot lane turret is copping an absolute beating. 80 CS now to about 46 on the other side. So
I wonder what the goal difference, because I mean, Sona, it's weird to see, right? Because
Yeah,
you're like, but the Klepto and everything adds up. I just want to see.
It's also so hard to track, right? Because the gold isn't just funneled on like the one specific member with
like
Tarek
it's
picking
Tarek.
up the CS. So it's kind of a cumulative gold fund. It's like a marriage. Sona Tarek are married, and then
They
I don't know,
they've got a split bank account.
Drakon and K-pop have that like that daddy relationship where one person is paying for everything.
I like that I heard you just choosing your words carefully.
Here we go.
Yeah, Paprise and Lisa happy to make the dive. I mean, he's got no mana. It's going to be easy kill. The ultimate
Very
does
nice
come across
repel.
Lisa. Chills. Says, see you later. Paprise as well with the ultimate.
Riot's
But now
here.
Riot is here. He goes on to Paprise. He disengages. Candyman actually very, very low. Not
They get
receiving
it.
the damage. They get the first kill. Riot is very, very low, getting 2v1. Paprise flashing for
Oh.
it. The double kill goes over to Lisa.
And the top 2v2 is styling on the Union, guys. Paprise has got so many Triumph procs to save his ass this game, and Lisa, starting off this one, we mentioned so many times in Champions, like the Elise versus the Hecarim. This is now 5-1 versus a 0-2. This is an absolute clinic of Elise play, and top 2v2 is popping off for Legacy.
Oh, just feel bad for Candyman. He's always there, but then the rest of the members rotate up.
Yeah.
Nothing that he can do.
Looking at the matchup, it's so hard to be second to the play into an Elise and an Aatrox. Like, Repel comes through, and because they've already killed your top laner, you don't really want to be heck ulting onto the Aatrox, because he's just going to revive, right? UQU played that fairly well. They waited for the timeout on the Aatrox ulti, so he wouldn't get that one before they hard committed, but Triumph proc is barely enough to keep him alive, and Riot rotates up this time, can't clean up the kill, and ends up being 1-for-1.
Drakon and K-pop are playing that lane very, very well. You see the synergy is there. We talked about a little bit earlier. So when K-pop manages to land the Q, immediately the Q comes out from Drakon as well, doubling that damage. We didn't really see it in the Ezreal matchups. As you were saying, it's like once that Q hits, it's your time to go in.
It's also like not the most exciting thing to watch. So naturally, observers like, yes, top lane, 2v2, let's go.
Yeah.
Whereas bottom lane, it's like, okay, I landed my Q.
Yeah, no, I saw it when we panned for a second, but I'm like, it's worth complimenting the synergies there.
No, 100%. Agree.
But top lane's way more exciting.
Yes, that is 1.5k gold lead in top lane.
Oh, we get to see how much gold Sona has.
1.3k gold lead in the jungle.
Okay,
and
1K.
Yes, a little bit of a lead kind of across the board here from Legacy. 3,000 at just about 10 minutes since the Mountain Drake closed down. That's a big deficit to be in for Queensland fans.
Lisa very confidently now, just striding through the jungle, striding through the river, taking that Mountain Drake with barely any contest, and now the gold is really starting to add up. That deficit, 4k on the side of UQU, and it's only 11 minutes in.
Yeah, and now that you start getting towards like one item spike breakpoints, if this Sivir goes back, picks up an Essence Reaver, Aatrox has already got himself the Ghost Blade, and then you look at the other side, and both of the matchups I've highlighted are tier matchups for Union, right? Those guys aren't coming online for a very long time, and Legacy are going to be spiking very soon, so it's not like the worst part is over. The worst part is kind of growing on you right now, and Union have a long, long time to be able to stall this game out, to be getting back into fighting distance.
Again, Lisa in the jungle, as I said, knowing that it can. He's 5-1. Why not?
He just walks in, and Candyman's like, all right, take it. Get it. Just leave me alone.
Take what you want.
Take my Grom.
Starting the Rift Herald as well. There's probably not going to be any contest. Candyman's right there. Oh, already a flash stun
TP.
onto there.
Double TP.
Yumi is locking them up, but Riot goes for it. Drakon manages to disengage. Unfortunately, Nightfall isn't able to get that reset, but Paprise creating havoc in the backline, getting Kimchi, working his way onto Farmer, looking for a little bit more damage, forcing the flash out, turning his attention onto Riot. Drakon is back in the fight, proccing his ultimate. Nightfall is caught between them both, and getting absolutely chunked, needing to flash as well.
And Union, they try to make a big play, but everything turns on its head. Paprise TP's down, but
Candyman, but Paprise gets the double. It's a little bit too late. Candyman again on the retreat.
And what is going on? That's 3 kills picked up the back end of a play by Union. Rift Herald popped in the mid lane. That turret is gone to God. This one will fall down, no doubt, very soon as well. Candyman sticking around, but no ability to contest this one, and that was a disaster.
I can feel Candyman's frustration. I really can. To have all of your junglers banned out, to get stuck on the Hecarim, and then just always being a little bit too late.
Yeah.
I could feel the frustration.
That's a roughie.
That is indeed.
That has been an absolute roughie, because they weren't able to lock down the Sivir. Very nice spell shield, blocks the flash dazzle from Taric, and then Riot lands, but unfortunately the chains didn't connect. They actually hit a minion, so Realm Warp from Nightfaller post TP eventually gets people into melee range of the Sivir Yumi, but by that point there's no Taric stun, there's no Silas knockback, there's no nothing left, and by that point Paprise is landing, turning that one around, and disaster on all forms of the map here.
Any chance Lisa gets, going straight into invading Candyman's jungle. Really just denying him even more experience, even more gold, and also these resources from the rest of his team.
Yep, blue buff not going to the hands of the Rise or the Silas. Lisa's going to pick that one up for himself as Legacy. Just looking to break down the inner ring right now. They took down the outer ring. 3 turrets to 0 is the play right now. Actually, 3 turrets to 0 plates. As it falls off, not a single plate was taken by Union, because they haven't had priority in any single one of their lanes.
This gold deficit is exploding. Yeah. You're looking, it's like Monopoly. The bank is there, they're collecting, the debt collectors are here. You gotta sell your little houses.
No, it's like Monopoly when Legacy is the banker and they're also cheating.
They're cheating. Like, you mean like you go for a bathroom break and they take all your property?
Yes, they're just straight up paying themselves from the bank funds.
Just about to be 10k. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Flash stun from Mugi. The combo is there. Nightfaller gets taken out. Candyman trying to do the combination. Gets stunned in the retreat. Getting chonked by Dragon.
Get it?
Almost gets it, but Farmer with the heal to save it.
Yeah, very nice save there from the Sona, but damage still being dished out. Paprise is left alone on the bottom side of the map whilst all this happens, but you can see across the board, Legacy are just pressuring. Here we go.
Paprise diving a little bit, perhaps too deep onto Riot, but not committing for that one, forcing the ultimate out. Very, very close.
Yeah, very close. The chain actually catches him on the tip of tower range there, so Riot very well played. This may just be another
Toad in
death.
the bot lane is gone. Kimchi is on the retreat. They don't commit for it.
Sunglasses means safety, so Kimchi walks that one away. Mid turret is going to fall though. Repel is still there from Lisa,
Finally,
so we can buy
Candyman
some time.
doing Lisa. She does repel up. Candyman so low. Lisa needed to flash. Rest of the members are there. They cannot yet chase.
Yeah, the heal there from Yumi just keeps Lisa alive. Gets herself out with the flash and the repel. So Legacy, a little bit of a fumble there, you have to say. Yes, they get another 2 turrets, but Paprise in the solo side lane has a big lead over his opponent. Forces himself out of that one, and Lisa has to blow the flash. So Legacy, they still maintain control, but not for naught.
Candyman was so excited. He was like, I'm going to finally get... Nope.
Yeah.
Just Elise things. Still
Got
having
boomed.
the flash. Got him out of harm's way.
The worst thing about Elise is when like you corner her in a jungle, and she repels.
Onto a minion?
No, and then just some complete idiot places a ward over the wall. They're like, oh, she can repel over here, and just gives her an escape route. God, there's nothing more frustrated than watching that ally just like walk up to the wall.
Oh no.
Yeah, and you turn your like slow-mo goggles on, and you can just see it being placed down.
Who is that? Like, because you're the support, so you're in control there. Who's the offender? Is it mid? Top? What? Who is it?
I don't know. I feel like AD carries are the dumbest role.
Oh.
It's the most... They're the whingiest, and also it's the most plug and play. I didn't say less skill, but I said
do you know why we
less
win?
smarts.
Everything is out there trying to kill us. It's very
Excuse
unfair.
me.
Yeah.
Imagine playing League of Legends and then being funneled gold in, and then you're like, everything's trying to support lanes in the AD carry lane. Like, all of your environment is exactly the same, and then you also just get no gold and have to like babysit.
Okay, but it goes both ways. Everyone's also had that support that refuses to stand in front of you, and you as an ADC is like, you're my support! Support me!
Yeah, nah. Biggest pet peeve is Janna sitting in a bush complaining that
oh
support
my
role sucks.
God. Don't even get me started.
Yeah.
Already just turning our attention, Legacy are just increasing the gap. Working their way from mid, from bot, but systematically just really decimating this map, opening it up.
Yeah. Paprise able to draw 2 members over to his lane means that a 4v5, or 4v3 rather, is brewing in the bottom side. No Baron just yet. We are only 17 minutes into this game, but in-hip turret being contested. Another stun lands from Mugi. The damage is certainly ticking away.
Getting empowered, so just a little bit of poke coming out from K-pop, but Paprise, he's scary. Even as a solo. Look at the gold difference between them both.
He's doubled. In 100 gold, he is literally double the amount of gold of his lane opponent.
And he was even to the point of diving real under that turret in the bottom that we saw earlier.
Because now he's...
No cares given.
Yeah, he's being matched with Riot, who's like the best person they can throw at him, and he's still like 3,000 gold behind.
It's rough.
This is Aatrox territory.
I think this also shows, I mean, Legacy, they always did have the experience on their side as well. Good stun. Still no follow-up, just systematically waiting, biding their time. Baron isn't even up yet, and they're still pressuring these turrets.
You can see it's very difficult for Drakon to actually hit the turret. Because as soon as he steps up, he's kind of playing a mind game of when do I blow the spell shield? Like Farmer has a Sonar ulti, if that lands, then Tarek's stun follows up and you just die immediately. So it's hard to actually get relevant damage, but with that chunk, it does open up an opportunity.
Minion wave escorted in, Paprise even crossing the wall. Not afraid, working their way onto this first inhibitor in the bot lane. Rest of the members of UQU struggling, going to actually give this one up, knowing that they cannot yet fight.
Yeah, pre-20-minute inhib now taken by Legacy. Mugi did a lot of the work there on the Syndra. Stun after stun connecting, and eventually, once it connected onto the right targets, that inhib just got immediately decimated. Now Legacy, kind of the best inhib to take ultimately as well. They get to naturally push in bottom lane. They now get to flip the map up towards Baron as soon as that spawns, and lots of options available.
Full control as well in the bot lane. So many pinks raining on out, just helping them manage their rotation from mid to bot. And just pressuring, working their way probably onto this Baron. As soon as it's up, they will be 100% wanting to make a play for it.
I'm curious if Union actually contest. There's no way they're getting vision control. There's no way they're getting into the Baron pit without fighting into a choke. And do they want to opt in for that one? I feel like chokes, maybe. Teamfight can be there. If you get a nice Tarek ulti, a nice Sonar ulti,
Well, if you don't fight for it, it's just going to be a slow death.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. Like, it's an inhib already down, right? Like, does Baron mean another inhib, and then you're fighting up 2 inhibs worth of creeps, and it's a very hard task
They also
already.
feel like they cannot stall. Any chance the minion waves there, Dracon's just like, see ya, minions. That's the power of Sivir as well.
Yep. Now finished the IE, so hits the spike as well. Still more than 40 CS, over double the entire enemy bottom lane put together. So certainly feeling good right now. And Baron started up, and it looks like Union not contesting this one.
Right on the dot, exactly as it spawned. And already 1/3 of the way down, they are completely decimating it. UQU, they are cautiously trying to make their way to the pit. The warning things are coming out. They do not want to commit to it. Doesn't even matter. Legacy were very easily able to take that one out.
Yep, uncontested. Union didn't even come close. Thanks, Elise.
So now, it's what do they do from this point on? Baron minions are going to be knocking down your door. You've already got that one inhibitor down. You're so far in terms of that gold lead, you just really have to pray and hope for a Hail Mary kind of play.
And I feel like Paprise may just actually look for a dive here. Legacy setting up. Farmer has to pull the trigger onto something. Candyman's going.
He's the one that wants to make the dive. Yumi locking him in place, but in the back lane, it's going to be Paprise. Actually,
One
no,
down.
Lisa first of all. The rest of the members are there, but Paprise, he still has the ultimate ready to go. Riot needing to proc the mirror ultimate. Riot is next to fall. So is Carrick. That's a double kill over to Paprise.
And a very clean dive there from Legacy. Yes, they lose the Elise, but Paprise 1v9s the backside. Eventually, 3 kills is enough to take it down, and that's going to be the second inhib and onto the Nexus.
They don't even care. They're just clearing out the minions and slowly working their way to this victory. Cool, calm, and collected. That's Legacy. Only losing one member, Lisa, early on. You still have Nightfaller and Candyman trying their best to defend, but they have an uphill battle. Sona is going to join them. But actually, Mookie overstays his welcome a little bit. Candyman is possibly going to go down for that. No, Tarek saves him. Paprise is now dueling 3 members. It doesn't matter. With the help of Drakon, he gets the crit, he gets the double kill.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a roughie there. UQU trying to hold on. Riot's turn now. Ulti.
Right, see what he can do. K-pop actually tanking the turret, gets the heal, saves himself. Minions are now working their way onto the base. It's going to be a very, very slow death. Perhaps padding their kills. Nightfaller leaving him out. Minions are going to finish that one. That's going to be Legacy getting the win over UQU.
Yeah, Riot with the rage quit at the end of that game. Died twice in the last team fight. A little bit of a roughie there, but Legacy back to back. They sub in Paprise, and
we said Chungy was their top laner.
Yeah, I'm like, can he slot into how they want to play? And apparently the answer is yes.
Just give me Aatrox and I'll carry.
Give him Aatrox, give him an Elise to just sit in his lane. And
that was their win conditions. They knew the experience and they played it so well.
Yeah, but I feel like it wasn't just that one lane, right? Like, yes, Paprise just boomed topside with the Elise, but also bottom lane was just completely monstering, right? Yes, like Sona Tarek was the answer to Yumi, but they just had no priority. We're just getting so many plates down there, and it really was just across the board Legacy just styling on their opponents there. It
really was. And like, okay, you'd look at UQU and you're like, oh, I mean, that really sucked. But again, it's just the matchup there. Yeah. Legacy had all the experience. They had all the cards. UQU, they fought valiantly, but they weren't able to take that one out.
Fought valiantly. Were able to pick up the win in Origin, but unfortunately not picking up the win versus Legacy. But guys, don't go anywhere. Halfway through the day, God damn it. Next game will be 3 minutes after this break. Come back, please.